Hey, how's everybody doing today? Okay, I got something special for you today. Right here, you're looking at the basically a line drawing of where the Serpent Mound is. I did this with the overlay that Doug Kroll provided on the show, Curse of Oak Island. And he had proposed in here that this is a Serpent Mound depicting perhaps Abraxas, which was a man's head, or no, a rooster head, a man's body, and two serpents for legs. And that if this is man-made, that very well could be. My other guess was this is just a bunch of rocks that were left over from the maritime glacial period about 20,000 years ago. So we don't know yet. It could be or it couldn't be. But I was watching a video by Gretchen Cornwall, and she brings up another, basically another theory of what this could represent. And I looked into it, and I have been researching the Lusignan family as potential people that could be bringing over the treasure or whatever is on Oak Island, bringing that over to them. And I had read in my research that there was a legend about one of the Lusignans meeting a fairy in the woods, and I didn't really read on about it until I watched this video with Gretchen, and she mentions that this fairy was actually the Legend of Melusine, and she is a fairy, but actually she transforms in many shapes. So she's very interesting, and I'll leave you the link to Gretchen's video if you guys want to watch it. It's long, but she has some good information. It was very interesting. So anyway, what I'm proposing here is not that this is real, that this Melusine is a real creature or even really was a real person, but it is a legend telling the story of basically a heritage. Now, descendancy and who you belong to is very important in the feudal system. That's why they have so many confusing marriages. That's why everybody's named the same name. Guy, Henry, Hugh, they're all named the same because it denotes their heritage, there's lineage. And in a feudal system, that is everything, because everything you own is attached and belongs to who you are and who you know and where you came from. And area is very important too, because in those days you were named Henry of Poitou, or you know Ralph of Cyprus. That's basically how they knew you. So it's very important. And we're going to find out that, here's the legends are all in these areas: France, Luxembourg. And in France, it's most of her legends are in the area of Louis the First, the Lord of Talmont, which is Western Europe, Western and Northwestern Europe, which is, or France, I'm sorry, Western France. So it is very important to understand that these are coming from that region. Also, the House of Planchene is also from the House of Anjou, which is also in that region of France, which is northwestern France. So all this is originating from the north, basically the north and the western parts of France. Now Luxembourg is on the other side. It's really that's basically in German area. So, but they were into it too, and Hungary. Those are all part of the Holy Roman Empire. So it was also in that area too. And we're going to find out that uh, that King John II, which was during the time of Louis the First of Talmont, his wife was from Luxembourg. So I guess what I'm saying is it's not whether this is true or not, or whether this is a reality, but it is showing you sort of a mentality, a belief system in which they may be engaged in, and also be very much have a kinship or loyalties to one another because of this descendancy. And all these folk tales are medieval literature. Okay, they talk about that these people are descended from Melusine. So these people in these areas are saying that they're descended from Melusine, and they're mostly nobility. And this is the first one, and this wasn't mentioned in those other ones because it's not really part of Melusine. This is her mother, who marries the King of Scotland, and you can read that if you like. And this comes from the area of France, this legend. And here's the tale of King, what was it, Eliana, and he was out hunting, and he met this Prasine and married her and gave him 3 daughters. But upon marrying him, she said, "You can't watch me while I'm bathing." I guess that's what lying in means. And one day, he was all excited about the daughters being born. He came in to her while she was taking a bath, and she got mad and took off. And it says here at the bottom, she left with her daughters for the home of her sister. I don't know who her sister is, but she's the queen of the Lost Island. So, the Lost Island's a mystery. This legend is also very much in the family history of the Rochefoucalds. And here's an interesting thing I found, that the first Rochefoucauld, which was just Foucauld de la Roche, was the son, and Comte, I think that's like Lord or something. He's a a head over Lusignans. So this is it. This is the family, but it's also an area in France. And it says the Lusignans ruled as kings of Jerusalem in the 12th century, and that's true. And the legend says that Melusine is their ancestress. Okay, and so the legend begins. And there's so much more to this story that I'm telling you. If you guys want to research it, there's lots of articles on it. But the Lusignan family is definitely, I think, involved in whatever is on Oak Island. Even without this legend, they are the main principal nobility that would have the means, the method, and the people to get whatever, if anything, came out of the Middle East at the fall of the Crusades and the fall of Acre in 1291. They would be the ones, because they basically ruled over the island of Cyprus, and the island of Cyprus was basically the main camp after 1291. And whatever came out of there, it made its way, towards the west. I think the northwestern part of France, and we'll get into that later. But I'm just getting into this Melusine. Here's another tale about Raymond of Poitou, and how he was in a forest and he met this Melusine. He met Melusine in the forest, and she was basically, in the story, she was cursed that every Saturday she would turn into this serpent creature, and that was because of what she did to her father. But anyway, she was also a serpent creature and a fairy. Of course, her mother was, so why wouldn't she be? And it also says that she can assume the form of a dragon. And she gave Raymond of Poitou 2 magic rings, which she left, though, never returned again. And then here's the legend of Guy Lusignan, and he was also from Poitou. He was the Count of Poitou. And the thing about that's in this right here is she bore him many children and erected a castle for him with her magical art. So maybe that's how they did it on Oak Island. Maybe she came along and made the tunnels for him. I don't know. Anyway, this is very interesting. It is a legend that is basically has people that are actually alive. Here's Raymond of Poitiers, and that's the same as Poitou, Raymond of Poitou. So this most likely would be him. And he was the son of William the Ninth, the Duke of Aquitaine. Now remember, we were talking about Aquitaine. That is a region in southwestern France, not by the Mediterranean, but it's on the Atlantic side. And Philippa, who was the Countess of Toulouse. Now Toulouse is where René's chateau is, where they allegedly brought the Ark of the Covenant or treasures out of Oak Island or out of Jerusalem before they went wherever they went. But it was the county of Toulouse is where René's chateau is. And then Guy of Lusignan. There was so many guys that I don't know if this is the same one that is supposedly in it, but there was so many Guy Lusignans, you can't even keep track of them all. But this guy, the interesting thing about him is he married into Jerusalem, and this is Sibia, and she was pretty much one of the daughters of the kings of Jerusalem. And then after Guy, he gets in to be king of Jerusalem, and the Lusignan family fights with her family, which is the Folk family, for quite a few years. And that's how that is going with that. Anyway, here's the little thing that was written too, is the children of Melusine went on to become the kings of Cyprus, the king of Armenia, the king of Bohemia, the Duke of Luxembourg, and the last king of Jerusalem. So we can look up who that is for sure, the last king of Jerusalem, and the Lord of Lusignan. It is said that her noble line will reign till the end of the world. And then the comment is power to myth and legend. So, yeah, there is a lot of power to myth and legend, especially if these people in power believe it and the people underneath them believe it. Yes. So, oops. Sorry about that. Anyway, who was the last king? It was Henry II, and he was a Lusignan. He was in the Lusignan dynasty. And we're going to get into him in some other episodes of what happens in Jerusalem, especially during this time period. I believe during his reign, whatever was in Jerusalem or was taken out of Jerusalem went to the island of Cyprus, and it left there. And he may have been part of it afterwards, but I think he was just a go-between point between where it went, where it originated from, to where it finally ends up, which is the island of Cyprus. So anyway, that's all I have for you today, and I'll talk to you next time.